Hello. Today we're going to talk about the United Nations and the vote they just took. I'll just read a couple from this is from the AP. The title is UN Assembly Approves Resolution Granting Palestine New Rights and Reviving its UN Membership Bid. Okay. The UN General Assembly voted by a wide margin on a Friday to grant new rights and privileges to Palestine and called on the Security Council to reconsider Palestine's request to become the 194th member of the United Nations. The world body approved the Arab and Palestinian-sponsored resolution by a vote of 143 to 9, with 25 absentees or abstaining. The United States voted against it, along with Israel, Argentina, Czechia, Hungary, Micronesia, Nauru, Palau, and Papua New Guinea. The vote reflected the wide global support for full membership of Palestine in the United Nations, with many countries expressing outrage at the escalating death toll in Gaza and fears of a major Israeli offensive in Rafah, a southern city where about 1.3 million Palestinians have sought refuge. It also demonstrated growing support for the Palestinians. A General Assembly resolution on October 27th calling for a humanitarian ceasefire in Gaza was approved 120 to 14 with 45 abstentions. That was just weeks after Israel launched its military offensive in response to Hamas's October 7th attack in southern Israel, which killed 1,200 people. While Friday's resolution gives Palestine some new rights and privileges, it reaffirms that it remains a non-member observer state without full UN membership and the right to vote in the General Assembly or at any of its conferences. And the United States has made it clear it will block Palestinian membership and statehood until direct negotiations with Israel resolve key issues including security, boundaries, and the future of Jerusalem and lead to a two-state solution. Okay, that was the article from the AP on the specifics of that vote that they took last week about granting membership. So someone's going to have to explain to me about the UN voting on membership for Palestine. As an example, here's my question. Can the UN vote the state of North Carolina for membership? Or what about the UN voting on allowing the city of London for membership? I just don't understand when these morons at the UN and a lot of people worldwide understand that Israel, say it again, okay, Israel owns every square inch of land in Gaza. How is it possible that everyone seems to forget that Israel received Gaza from kicking Egypt's ass? An ass kicking that Egypt laughs over now as they made Gaza Israel's problem. Besides the security Israel has to deal with in Gaza, Israel receives 86% of all exports from Gaza, and Gaza receives 39% of all imports from Israel. So, statistically speaking, Israel is by far the highest in both categories, right? Little side note real quick on that statistic. This is another example that whoever calls for boycott, divestment, and sanctions, BDS, are clearly, by every measuring stick, fucking stupid. Great idea. Yeah, let's divest from Israel, who counts for 86% of Gaza's exports. You want to bury the large majority of everyday Palestinians, whose country, again, exports 86% to Israel and imports 39% from Israel. Brilliant. Brilliant. Gosh. Imagine, just so I can put things in context here, all right? Imagine if Illinois, the state of Illinois, was classified as an all-Indian territory, and they constantly shot unguided rockets and wanted to kill every person in the states surrounding them. I wonder how we would react as a country. And by the way, the U.S. owns the land in Illinois. I mean, this is the fucking world-class headache Israel has unfortunately owned since 1967. Anyway, how on earth can the UN take a vote for membership that isn't already owned by another country? Israel already owns the Gaza Strip, all of it. How can you take a vote and make them a country? I mean, when did Gaza become a country? And besides that, just Gaza itself, they have virtually no economy. They have massive unemployment, and they have a terrorist organization who heads up all their political aspects. They have no fresh water, decent agriculture, and virtually no educational standards that would come close to passing any UN standards, especially education for girls and women. The only thing that they really have, and it's consistent, is UNRWA, who apparently has no problem sending weapons, teaching hate in schools, and sat idly by knowing what was going to happen on October 7th. Yes, there were definitely people in UNRWA who knew what was going to happen. The people in Gaza need food. They need water. They need education without hate and a better outlook than thinking Israel is there to suppress them. All that beautiful beachfront property they have, and what has Hamas done with it? Well, it's irrelevant anyways because all the money goes into the Hamas coffers. Hamas is extremely corrupt. Homosexuality is outlawed. By the way, where do all these homosexuals go to avoid a minimum of a 5-year sentence and long-term prison sentence or death? Well, they go to Israel. Hello, they've always gone to Israel. In an article in 2013, the Aguda, a paper wrote, they stated there are roughly 2,000 Palestinian homosexuals living in Tel Aviv at any one time. I deem Holocaust deniers as the dumbest people on our planet. But I'm debating if Gays for Gaza is second. They're definitely my top 5, and I'm not sure what to rank them yet. The judicial system in Gaza is authoritarian. First thing this government did, as every authoritarian government does, they shut down all the newspapers. Before their first year was out, this upstanding government, Hamas, fired 697 rockets and 822 mortar rounds into Israel. No biggie. The world's happy with this because they got their own land that they're borrowing from Israel. The world was still calling Israel occupiers after Israel left in 2005. Israel would send in medicine, food, whatever. Yet the fucking morons at the UN and various corrupt agencies still pointed the finger at Israel, even though this has opened up Israel to a tremendous amount of repercussions from Hamas. And a quick question. Can you name any authoritarian government in the Middle East? And this government is on the world's terrorist watch list. But can you name any authoritarian government in the Middle East that has raised the standard of living in their countries? How about supply more food, water, education to the betterment of its people? Or do you think that maybe, I'm rounding up, 99% of every dollar Hamas receives goes to the purchase of weapons, enriching the top guys, and my gosh, they have to go to shovels. I mean, what is their shovel budget? Nothing has worked or will work until the Gaza Strip gets some people in there who want to work for the people. Stop buying and using weapons, recognize Israel, and then voila, Gaza can flourish. I mean, at the least, nothing else has worked. And guess what? Fortunately, we do have precedent. And here are a couple examples that have worked for peace. Peace with their neighbors. And I'm looking at you too, Lebanon. Stop with this shit. So any of those countries can go ask Egypt and Jordan how their lives have been since they've made peace with Israel. I could go on and on. But, congratulations to the extremely corrupt and incompetent United Nations. Only you fuckers allow a country in for membership that started off their path to glory, path to recognition, path to statehood by murdering, torturing, maiming, burning, raping Israelis. Only the United Nations would reward a territory on Israeli territory, nonetheless, for murdering, butchering, raping, burning, beheading innocent civilians. So let's not stop there. I mean, let's keep it going. Hamas takes 260 hostages, killing who knows how many right now. And yes, rewarded again by the UN, calling for statehood. Hamas has been able to use that terror tactic to divide Israel and play out long enough to garner sympathy, yes, sympathy, for members of the United Nations and people worldwide. Here's another question, just hypothetical. If Israel took 5,000 Gazans hostages, do you think Hamas would have swapped the 260 for them? How about 10,000 hostages? 10,000 Gazans? Of course not. Hamas and the rest of the world, clearly, they don't care. I really don't know what else to say to this, but if I would have told anyone on the planet, on this planet, on October 8th, 2023, that the world would turn against Israel virtually overnight, my response would have been, no shit. Everyone always turns against Israel. I will say this, the turning against the Jewish part, that's new to me. I haven't seen that before. So I guess those dumbass Hamas terrorist assholes really did know the right formula. Murder, torture, rape, and take Israelis hostages. Develop an underground network of tunnels that seems like 1 million miles long, instead of using that money for food, agriculture, baby formula. And also make sure the hubs of these tunnels always connect to the grand central stations located under hospitals, schools, and places of worship. My gosh, I guess the United Nations doesn't take into account the 1 million or so violations of the Geneva Convention laws that have been broken by Hamas. I mean, what a joke the United Nations has become. What's up? You want to maybe bring in Narnia for membership? Anyway, really, at the end of the day, I don't give two shits what the UN does. They've become so corrupt that besides the bribes that run virtually every department, it's embarrassing that the UN is on U.S. soil, in my opinion. Israel has one job, okay? Everything else is just talk. They have one job right now, and that is to make sure when this conflict is over, whenever that may be, that every Hamas member is dead, in jail, or thrown out of the Gaza Strip. And this is by any means necessary, and public outcry should be kiss our ass. You want to know who Jews rely on? Jews. I mean, it's truly mind-boggling to me that a religion with under 15 million people worldwide has to constantly take shit on all sides, and for what? That, or we capture as many Hamas members as possible, find them a city inside every country that voted for their membership, supply them with some guns, Katyusha rockets, and make sure the city has a lot of extremely soft bedrock, as we know with how much they friggin' like to dig. Does any sensible person on earth, think it's a great idea to have Hamas usher in a government, a peaceful government that will govern fairly its people and its neighbors? Please, cite one instance, just one, where Hamas governance helped anyone living in Gaza except themselves. Everyone calls for Gaza's independence. Great. Let's elect a true, documented terrorist organization to run its government. I'm going to leave you with this. This war in Israel that is having unjustified repercussions worldwide is irrelevant in our minds as of now. Right now, it is our turn. Our turn, never again. And frankly, everyone else can really go for themselves. What else are we supposed to do? You want to know who Jews rely on? Jews. I mean, it's just truly mind-boggling. 2024. Truly mind-boggling to me that a religion with under 15 million people worldwide has to constantly take shit on all sides. And for what? Well, here's why.
Я счастливый, что я могу вас видеть, с вами разговаривать. Это для меня большое дело.
Спасибо
Я уже
огромное.
2 ночи не сплю, потому что я жду вас.
Я
Я
обещал.
счастливый, что я могу с вами говорить и вас видеть. Хороший парень.
This is one of the last opportunities that we'll have to witness something like this. I feel like we're kind of touching a piece of history. This reunion between Eliyahu and his nephew, who came immediately to meet him from Russia when the revelation was made, happened thanks to the information that they found, that Eliyahu's grandson found on Yad Hashem's central database of Shoah victims' names.
Сейчас вы знаете, что есть большая фамилия здесь, в Израиле.
Да.
Вы не будете самотны. Имейте
Нормально. Все нормально.
Все нормально. Нормально. Нормально.